Welcome to your 20-minute podcast with David Brower, where we do our best to give you useful information in 20 minutes or less. Now, here's your host, 5-time Voice Arts Awards nominee, David Brower.
Thanks, Allan. This is David Brower with your 20-minute podcast. Our special guest today from Latrobe, Pennsylvania is Casey Stubbs. And Casey is a former vet in the Army. So first of all, thank you for your service.
Welcome.
And welcome to the show. When you got out, or as you were getting out, I suppose, what was kind of going on in your head? How did you feel this whole financial piece was going to?
I actually really didn't put a whole lot of thought about it, to be honest. I was just trying to find whatever I could. Mm-hmm. And so I just started working at UPS loading trucks when I first got out, which is a pretty cool job, by the way.
Yeah.
Keeps you on your toes.
And keeps you in shape.
And in shape, yeah. So I really enjoyed that. But as time went on, I started to grow my family, and I needed some additional sources of revenue. So I just started to try all kinds of different things until where I'm at today in business.
And at today means, folks, he's an expert in enhanced marketing strategies, growing your business through increased authority and visibility, and teaching proven strategies to increase cash flow. So going from unloading a truck to all of that's quite a leap, man. Congratulations. You've been doing this for a while.
Thanks. As a matter of fact, it's my 10-year anniversary this month, 10 years working for myself. So it's been pretty cool to be able to celebrate that milestone.
Absolutely. I hit mine on May 1st last year. So a great celebration indeed. So when you're with over a year of experience in marketing, and you have your own podcast, right? Finance and Markets Cash Flow Hacking Podcast, and over 322,000 followers on Facebook. That blows me right out of the sky. How in the world did you do that?
Well, it's all through my advertising manager. So as a marketing expert, I'm always learning and figuring out how to do marketing. And so I go to a lot of trainings. I spend a lot of money on masterminds. I spend a lot of money on marketing seminars, and I go and travel and attend these events. And this Facebook strategy was one that I picked up at one of the events, and I've actually hired someone now to manage all my ad platforms. I basically took everything that I learned from these conferences and training and all the materials that I've learned, and I hired someone to run all the marketing ads full time. And so in order to grow your Facebook presence, it's just one of the strategies that I've learned
Brilliant.
Through all that training.
Brilliant. And the other thing I would think with the investment of time, money, resources, to study all these different things and go to all these different conferences, you're bringing a whole lot of education and learning to the table that you share with your clients, right?
Yeah. You know, one of the things about in today's world is that it moves very fast.
Yeah.
I think this is probably the fastest pace that humanity has ever been. And so you might be on top of Facebook, but then 2 days later, you're not.
Yeah. No, that's right.
And that's intimidating with some regards, but for me, it's not too bad because I really like to learn. I like to stay on top of stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I developed my team. I would say that as time has gone on, I'm no longer the expert, and the people on my team know more than I do.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's very good.
I think one of the things, too, like smaller businesses, it's not like they're oftentimes going to have the time, money, resources to do all of that, travel, conventions, and all those kinds of things. So finding an expert like you is invaluable, but also trying to figure out and I think, you have to correct me on this, also trying to figure out where do I start? Because I can't start on all the social media at once. I got to figure out what's going to kind of open the door for me and then go from there. Is that a fair statement?
Right. It's a really good statement, one that I like to bring up because there's so many options on the table.
Yeah.
It's like, where do I start? And so my suggestion to that is just pick one thing and get really good at it. And then you grow to another item. Right now, I'm spending a lot of money on Facebook. I spend a lot of money on Google. I spend money on Twitter. I'm spending money on email marketing. I've got a very large media budget. Well, not large, but large for me.
Sure.
Because I've been growing it. But it actually started at $100 a month.
Nice.
Right. And I just used that well. And then I've been slowly growing my marketing budget in different areas. And that's what I would recommend, is just start in one location and start small. Because when it comes to marketing, it's really easy to throw your money away. You could spend $10,000 in a blink of an eye and get no results. So you want to make sure that you really know what you're doing before you start to increase the spending.
And to have somebody to help you, be your mentor, have the experience and the training to lead you by the hand in many cases. Otherwise, you're just out there shotgunning it, and that's just you just will put a match to the money doing that.
That's what I've seen a lot of people do in marketing, and I've done it myself. And so now I take everything slow and steady.
Yeah, there's a saying, and I have no idea where it came from, but when people are reducing their debt, paying off their bills, and they get one paid off, and then they take that amount of payment and they add it to another payment and let that snowball, right, so that goes away, and then that money goes to another one, snowballs, and that goes away. I would think you would take the same approach in increasing your marketing, right? As you start out with your $100 a month, and then as you get more return on investment, you can increase that and be real thoughtful and careful and appropriate with how you grow that budget.
That's exactly how I do it. I take a little bit and I just slowly grow it. And that principle works really well, like you said, in paying off your bills. It works great in growing your business. In marketing, it works great in investment. Just take what you have and then slowly increase it. And then you see that snowball effect where it just kind of blows up on you, which is a really great place to be.
Absolutely. Because there is no silver bullet. There is no quick answer. And so learning what to do, how to do it with somebody that's got some authenticity, credibility, and integrity, and to help you along the way, that's invaluable. So if you have, Joe Smith down the street, he owns a couple of dry cleaners, and he's thinking that he wants to increase his cash flow. What would you tell him to start off?
Well, I would say that this is dry cleaning.
Yeah, or whatever,
I would say,
but yeah.
Well, dry cleaning works.
Okay.
He needs foot traffic, right? I mean, there's a lot of ways to increase your cash flow. You can increase your margins. You can sell additional products. So you've got to look at all of those things. But for me, I'm always thinking foot traffic, right?
Yeah.
I think people in the door. And then you can work on those other things later. Make each person more valuable once you get them in the door.
Mm-hmm.
But right off the bat, I would say foot traffic. And a great way to do that is Facebook, because everybody's on Facebook now. And everybody that needs dry cleaning is on Facebook. And so you can start a campaign on there and begin to engage with people locally in your area and start to build your brand presence and start using that to drive people into the door, whether you use Facebook page to hold coupons, special offers. Special offers work really good at getting people in the door. Mm-hmm. New customers get one shirt done for free. That kind of stuff goes crazy. Not only do they come in, but they also share it with their friends.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's the new word of mouth is Facebook, I think, or Twitter or whatever.
Right. And when you're running, especially when you're running a promotion, because people love to get those promotions, and it works. And then, you might not land everybody as a long-term customer, but you're going to land enough to get your brand out and to make the marketing worth it.
Brilliant. Easy steps there, folks. If you didn't write them down, be sure to listen to this podcast again, because that's, no matter what your business is, that's invaluable right there. So when you started growing your business, you grew your cash flow, you grew your marketing, you started to grow your social presence. What does it take to build a world-class marketing strategy like yours?
For my specific strategy, again, I want to just reiterate that I started with one thing only, okay? Mm-hmm. And so you should really start with just one thing and not get overwhelmed about what I'm going to tell you now, because I have a lot of people working for me and I've done a lot. But the very first thing I started with was the website. I built out a website and started to get people to come to the site. So that worked and people started to come. And then the next thing I learned was, well, I need to be able to communicate with these people. So I began to develop an email list. The way you do that is you give them something for free. In my case, since I'm in the finance industry, it was a free financial report on how to invest in the markets. They give you your email, you give them the report, and now you start to communicate with them, right? So then once I started to communicate with them, I started focusing on growing the traffic, growing that list, until now, where my email list, I'm growing it by 20 to 30,000 new names every month. When I first started, I was only getting 1 or 2 a week,
Sure.
right? And so then after I did that, then I just noticed, oh, well, there's Facebook, and I started working on my Facebook presence. I started working on other websites that have social communities, trying to get my presence in there. Then just keep going from one social platform to another until you have systems built. And so one of the systems that I have built is that I post an article once a week on my website,
Mm-hmm.
and then I turn that article, I actually turn it into a video. So I take all the text and I have somebody narrate it. I add music, I add slides, and then I sub that out onto YouTube. Then I shoot that out onto Facebook, that same video, and I share it on Twitter. And then I turn that article also into an infographic, and then I post the infographic on Twitter. I post the infographic on Facebook, and then I submit that infographic to infographic directories. And I do that with every piece of content I have. And I do the same thing with my podcast. I create little snippets of audio and a 30-second snippet, and I post that on all the social media platforms. And then I run ads to those platforms. And so it's a big thing going to every platform. And it just took time to get that set up. And I have systems in place now where it's happening all automatically.
Well, and the other thing to keep in mind, folks, is this is a 10-year process. This didn't happen overnight. So you're taking it slow. You got a $100 marketing budget. You're taking on email. Then you take on one, you find a system that works. That gives you the return on investment to move on to another one. And then as you grow each one, I assume, then you start being in the position to hire people to come in and work those systems either with you or for you, so that you continue on your treadmill, if you will, to keep growing.
Yeah. Once you realize that you can't do it, then you got to either get somebody or be stagnant.
Yeah.
Adding people is another way to really grow, but a lot of people don't like to take that step. It's a little scary. Sometimes they take it too soon. Sometimes they take it too late. You got to find the right person. It's another difficult step. But if you can't do that, you're eventually going to cap out.
Yeah, absolutely. When you started getting into your email campaigns and you started from your website to grow that list, how did you do that?
Well, the very first thing was that I got really fortunate to get traffic my way. I started a website pretty early, and a couple of bigger websites picked up some of my articles.
Nice.
And they started driving traffic, and I got a lot of traffic for being really new. And so I just started researching, like, okay, how am I going to make money from this? And I found an article. This is really good. And I found an article that said how to make money online, or how to make $1,000 a month online, right? And it was like a really in-depth article. And I just read it. It was like 8 pages long, and I just did every single thing.
You didn't have to pay $1,000 for it?
No, it's free. You can get free stuff online. You just got to be willing to research yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I just followed the steps, right? And one of those steps was building that email list, and a couple other things, and it worked. I just did what. And another little interesting nugget about that, in those 10 years, I've had probably 20 people come up to me and say, "Hey, I want to get started online. How did you do it?" And you know what I do? I send them to that article.
Exactly.
And not a single person followed through on it that has actually asked me. Seriously.
Oh my gosh.
So it's not so much the knowledge, but it's the acting on that knowledge. People say knowledge is power, but that's not true. It's acting on the knowledge that you know.
Well, you got to make a commitment. I mean, my goodness gracious. Here you go, folks. Here's an 8-page silver platter. Not cost you anything. Have a great day. Call me in a year when you make your first $200,000.
Right.
And they just go away. Wow. That's how sad. I mean, really.
I think they're looking for that silver bullet, right?
They are. They totally are. Yeah, they don't realize. It's like the overnight success, right, in show business. It took years and years and years, and like you, it took 10 years to get where you are. And they're going, well, hell, I can do that. No, You can't.
Well, they can, but they just got to put the time and work in.
That's right. Exactly right. So you travel around a lot. Do you speak at conventions? How do you get the word out there, other than obviously your social media platforms? And are you still continuing to go out there to learn?
I go out to learn mainly. Most of my traveling is other business owners and people at a higher level, people that are smarter than me, right?
I hear you.
So I'm trying to find some people that are smarter than me to hang out with, and so that they can kind of blow my mind.
Yeah.
And that's really has helped me developing business relationships. That's another thing that really helps your business take off. When you get some solid people that you really like, that you can trust, you can do business with. I know that for me, business isn't just about make money, but it's about relationships. And it's kind of cool because it's like having friends and making friends and then making money together.
Yeah. And everything in life is about relationships, And a lot of people don't get that, and they need to. They need to take a course on relationships.
Hey, if you have all the money and no relationships, you're a big loser.
Oh my God, that is a true story there, man. So you go from the dry cleaning guy to the Wall Street real estate investment architecture guy in New York City, and that's a big leap. So you're all over the map, all different kinds of business sizes, all different kind of opportunities to help people to grow relationships, and in the same time, learning more stuff yourself, right?
Yeah, and the thing about the online marketing is it really does fit basically any business today. I know a lot of brick and mortar companies are always saying, well, what can you do for me? But the truth is that they're really missing out, because if they're not online now, they're really hard. They're not going to survive long, to be honest.
No, they're not. And you see, like Toys R Us and different chains like that have been around forever. And all of a sudden, oops, got to close my doors. And just because obviously I don't know the insides of all that, but I would assume that they weren't far enough ahead on the curve to be able to implement the online marketing the way they should have.
Right.
So if somebody wants to get more information about you, from you, where you can help them, are those opportunities out there? How do they do that?
Well, I'm available by going to my website, which is CaseyStubbs.com, CaseyStubbs.com. And on there has some information about me and access to my podcast, which is called the Cash Flow Hacking Podcast, where I teach tips, tricks, and strategies to increase your cash flow. And some of those tips are about marketing and business building, and some of them are about investing and trading. I try to bring different people, anything involved with building cash flow, I try to build them into the show. And you can always contact me from my website. I have access to my social profiles and
all your social media is on there. And tell me a little bit. We're running out of time, unfortunately, but tell me about your book, the Ultimate Harmonic Pattern Strategy Book, the most accurate harmonic patterns and how to trade them. What does that mean?
Well, inside of the market, patterns are constantly repeating themselves. If you are not familiar with markets and trading, you got to realize that nothing is actually random. It's all based on human behavior, and humans act the same over and over again. Mm-hmm. And so you'll find the consistency and the patterns in the markets. And harmonic patterns are just specific patterns that can identify potential market movements based on patterns that have already happened previously.
Fascinating. And that probably, and I don't know what I don't know about this, but that may very well be why investors would tell you, just stick with it. It may be going down for 3 months, but it's going to be back up in 6 years or whatever because of those proven patterns, right?
Right. And also, the more that you practice, better your proficiency is going to be.
Absolutely. And that goes for everything in life, folks, from relationships to business to taking out the garbage and walking the dog. Seriously, it's that simple, right? CaseyStubbs.com. That's the place to go to learn more and to reach out to this fellow. Hey, man, really enjoyed talking to you. Congratulations on your great success. And again, thank you for your service. You are one blessed dude.
You said it. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
You bet.
Listen to Your 20-Minute Podcast with David Brower on the go. Downloads are available on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, any podcast app, and on our website at davidbrowervo.com/Your 20-Minute Podcast. Until next time, thank you for listening.